Unlock divine miracles today. 3 ways to place your day in God's hands for heavenly blessings. In the heart of a quaint English village, where the air dances with the scent of blooming wildflowers, Mary knelt at her kitchen table, eyes closed, palms pressed together. Each evening, she whispered fervent prayers for her beloved daughter, Emma, her voice a tender thread weaving through the fabric of their faith. The flickering candlelight illuminated the surrounding walls, casting shadows that seemed to sway with the rhythm of their devotion. An unshakable bond filled the humble room. Mary knew that miracles were not just wishes, they were possible, palpable. But darkness clouded her spirit when Emma was diagnosed with a rare illness that threatened to snuff out their vibrant light. The village had that familiar buzz, whispers swirling like autumn leaves caught in a tempest. Relying on prayers? How naive, they scoffed, discontent brewing like storm clouds on the horizon. Yet, Mary clung tighter to her faith like a lifeline pulling her back from the edge of despair. The small local chapel became their refuge, and when dusk blanketed the village, a surge of hope surged as they gathered. Mary invited neighbors and friends to her home, transforming her space into a sanctuary of heartfelt supplication. Each voice lifted was a note in a symphony of shared hope, resonating against the ancient stones of their beloved chapel. The atmosphere was electric. On nights when the air grew still, it felt as if angels themselves stood sentinel beside them, listening, waiting for their pleas to ascend. "St. Jude, hear us!" Mary would cry, her voice echoing through the air thick with expectation. Suddenly, it wasn't just Mary praying, it was a community entwined in faith, eyes sparkling, hearts swelling. The weight of skepticism began to lift, revealing a glimmer of collective belief. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Days turned into weeks, nights blended into one another, and the flickering hope refused to extinguish. One Sunday, a traveling preacher arrived, igniting the drowsy atmosphere with fiery sermons. "Your faith shall unleash miracles you cannot fathom," he proclaimed, his voice booming with ardor, washing over Mary and the congregation. It was as if divine light broke forth through the chapel's stained glass, illuminating even the darkest corners of doubt. Then came an evening when they convened for prayer, voices united, faith bubbling forth like spring water. Mary knelt at the altar, her spirit aflame. Just as she poured her heart into a final plea, the air shifted, a divine presence enveloped them. The congregation felt it, gasps echoing as hearts synchronized in anticipation. At that moment, Emma looked up, her eyes sparkling as if kissed by the heavens. In that split second, they held their breath. Was this the miracle they had beseeched? The air seemed to tremble, the walls vibrating with divine energy as whispers of hope filled the sacred space. Anxiety ebbed away, replaced by a glimmer of something profound, a feeling that enveloped them all, promising that faith might very well conquer even the fiercest storm. And as the first rays of healing touched Emma, the villagers blinked in pure disbelief. Yet a quiet question lingered: what does this miraculous moment truly mean? With the future uncertain, Mary's heart beat fiercely with joy and trepidation, binding her community in bonds of shared faith. The story hung there, poised between hope and mystery, leaving all yearning for answers yet to come. Mary's heart swelled with emotion as she turned her gaze towards Emma, her daughter's face enchanting under the soft glow of the chapel's candles. It was a light not just illuminating her exterior, but reflecting a newfound hope, a vibrant spirit reawakened. What a sight to behold! The whispers of doubt that had once clouded the village began to dissolve like morning mist in the sun. The congregation, suspended in this sacred moment, exchanged astonished glances. Their breaths hung heavy with anticipation, as if time itself had paused to witness the miracle unfolding before them. Could it be? Was this the answer to their prayers, a genuine act of divine love? Excitement rippled through the chapel, a wave of warmth igniting the very air around them. God is here. A voice rang out, jubilant, jubilation spilling over like sparkling wine. Mary felt the joy resonate deep within her bones, filling every crevice of her heart. She reached out to Emma, tenderly brushing a strand of hair away from her face, marveling at the sheer beauty of this moment, one they had desperately longed for. "Oh, my sweet Emma, were you listening?" Her voice, a mix of disbelief and gratitude, broke through the overwhelming atmosphere. As the prayers continued, words of praise enveloped them, giving voice to their unshakable belief. "Thank you, Lord. Thank you for your wondrous love." A chorus of amens echoed through the chapel, tightly woven with threads of fervent hope. The community, once timid in their faith, now stood like mighty oaks, embracing the transformative power of their devotion. Emma smiled, a radiant beam of pure love. "Mom, I feel so light, so free." It was as though a burden that had pressed heavy upon her shoulders had vanished. But on deeper reflection, Mary wondered, was this a beginning or an end? Days passed in wondrous joy, with Emma's laughter bouncing through the once somber household. Light-hearted moments unfolded like blossoms in spring. Yet, as the sun dipped below the horizon each night, dark shadows of uncertainty crept back in. Mary found herself questioning, wrestling with the unspoken fears that lingered just beneath the surface. She caught the villagers' sideways glances, as they exchanged stories that reportedly contradicted the miracle witnessed. What if it was just a fleeting moment? She wrestled within. What if tomorrow brings heartbreak again? She shushed the doubts and clung to hope, but faith often feels delicate, like a fragile thread wavering in a storm. One evening, as Mary prepared the table for their usual gathering, she invited her neighbors to hear Emma's story. They arrived, curiosity piqued, and hope rekindled, but a sense of skepticism still flickered in the air. Sitting in the circle of shared warmth, Mary felt that illumination dance between them once more. Emma recounted the moment she opened her eyes and felt the love wash over her. It was as if they were all clinging together, refusing to let any shadow extinguish the light glowing amongst them. Yet amidst this joy, Mary pondered, was there more to this miracle? Could it be that God had woven a deeper plan into the fabric of their lives? As every word passed from Emma's lips, Mary's heart ached with questions yet unanswered, each story a reminder that faith requires not just conviction but the boldness to stand in uncertainty. The gathering drew to a close, with warm goodbyes lingering longer than usual, unified in a prayerful bond. And as she watched them leave, a flicker of unease whispered in Mary's heart, what were the next steps in this divine journey? Would faith guide them through the trials that undoubtedly lay ahead? With the moon casting its gentle light upon her, she knelt once more at her kitchen table. The flickering candlelight seemed to breathe magic into the night, igniting whispers of what was to come. There, in the quiet of her spirit, she knew they were not alone. God was paving a path ahead. But with every journey comes its shadows. What awaited them around the bend? Could their faith withstand the test of what lay beyond? Uncertain yet hopeful, Mary surrendered once more, poised for the next chapter in the extraordinary tapestry of their lives. The morning sun broke through the window, casting a golden hue upon Mary's kitchen. It bathed the room in an inviting warmth, stirring life within her heart even as her mind raced with unanswered questions. Today felt different. There was an energy pulsating in the air, a divine presence that hinted at something pivotal on the horizon. "Emma, are you ready?" Mary called, her voice holding a tender edge, saying it felt like they were about to embark on a great adventure. Emma emerged from her room, a swirl of excitement in her eyes. "I can't wait to see everyone again, Mom." With each step, she radiated an undeniable glow, a reflection of the hope that enveloped them all. As they made their way to the chapel, the village buzzed with activity. The morning market was alive with chatter, and vendors called out their offerings. It was a beautiful day, yet Mary sensed a mix of anticipation and trepidation among the townsfolk. Many had gathered, eager to witness the transformation in Emma, and the air was thick with murmurs, both supportive and doubtful. Mary steeled herself, recalling the intimate warmth of their last gathering. Faith had taken root, yet doubts lingered like shadows seeking to engulf their light. Emma's miracle had sparked joy, but also uncertainty. Could joy endure in the face of skepticism? At the chapel door, Mary paused and clasped Emma's hand, squeezing it gently. "Remember, love and faith can overcome any doubt." With an encouraging smile, Emma nodded, her spirit undeterred. Together, they stepped into the sacred space, where the pews were already bustling with familiar faces, all eager to hear their story anew. The sacred atmosphere was charged, like a blanket woven from hope and longing, the soft rustle of fabric blending with the gentle hymns welcomed them. Mary felt the tightness in her chest ease a bit as she scanned the crowd, witnessing their eagerness mixed with a hint of skepticism. Each face was a canvas of emotion, a tapestry of belief and doubt intertwined. As Mary shared Emma's miraculous story, she poured out her heart, recounting the fear and joy that had filled their lives. Each word was filled with a prayer, a cry of gratitude. "We saw the hand of God at work. He has touched her," but a murmur rippled through the congregation. But those hushed whispers stung as they held the weight of expectation. What if tomorrow proved that this day was a fleeting moment rather than a lasting change? "Why do you doubt?" a voice called out from the back. The question hung thick in the air, a challenge that rang with the authority of genuine concern. We need to trust. We can't let fear reclaim what we know is true. Mary's heart beat faster, the assertiveness striking a chord deep within her. How often had fear been allowed to anchor their faith? Emma rose, her eyes wide, holding on to her mother's arm for reassurance, her voice clear as a bell. "God's love is stronger than our fears. I feel it every day." Her confidence surged through the chapel like a breath of fresh air. Suddenly, Mary felt a soft tug inside her spirit, an urging to step into this moment. "We must cultivate our faith," she said, the urgency mounting in her voice. "Sharing our stories is part of listening to God's voice. God is working in us, teaching us to trust." The air thickened with a collective understanding. They were bound not just by doubt but also by a longing for assurance, that deep craving to believe in what seemed impossible. A miracle was more than an event, it was alive in their hearts, waiting to unfold in every ordinary moment. Around them, hope ignited again, passing from heart to heart. And as they prayed together, a deep wave of faith flooded the chapel. Yet as prayers were lifted high, Mary knew within that this was just the beginning. The journey they embarked upon would continue to challenge them, demanding tenacity and courage. What divine plan awaited them? As she closed her eyes in prayer, she sensed that now was the time for God's revelation. Would they navigate the coming tides with their faith anchored firmly in His promises? With every heartbeat, Mary felt the past and future intertwined, whispering a profound truth: miracles aren't just seen but lived, every step in faith echoing the promises yet to come. The atmosphere in the chapel shifted as the congregation settled into a hushed reverence. In this sacred space, hearts seemed to beat in unison with an ever-deepening faith. Mary felt the warmth of God's presence wrapping around them, a cocoon of hope and promise. With Emma standing beside her, she felt renewed strength surging through her veins. "Just breathe," Mary whispered, glancing at her daughter's expectant face. Emma nodded, her smile bright enough to dispel lingering doubts. Together, they turned towards the congregation, their family, their friends, each a piece of the tapestry God was weaving through them. As the prayers rose like incense, Mary listened to the murmurings of the crowd. Whispers of doubt still floated through the air, but something had shifted. They were no longer just spectators, they were participants. Hearts were opening, accepting the miracle that had begun to unfold before them. "Let us not dwell on uncertainty," she implored, her voice growing stronger, resonating within the sacred walls. "Instead, we must recount the goodness we've seen, the miracles we've experienced. Who among you has felt the stirrings of hope?" One by one, hands began to rise. An elderly man, his voice quivering yet firm, spoke of a time when he had been lost in despair and found solace in prayer. A woman shared how she had been healed from a long-standing illness and now felt rejuvenated, full of life. The stories flowed, like a river of faith, washing away the fears and doubts that had lingered too long. Emma, emboldened by the stories around her, took a deep breath and stepped forward. God's love is like a light that shatters the darkness. I've felt it guiding me, she said, her voice steady. Each of us has our own story. We are not merely waiting for miracles, we are living them. The room erupted with applause and shouts of agreement. In that moment, the chapel transformed into a sanctuary of belief where faith was no longer a whisper but a glorious shout. Tears streamed down faces, hearts opened wide, and hope danced amid the warmth of shared stories. Seeing the transformation unfold, Mary was moved. She raised her hands toward the heavens, inviting the congregation to join her. Let us invite God's presence to fill this place, she urged. Let us allow His love to flow through us, uniting us stronger than any fear. As they lifted their voices together in a song, the sound enveloped the chapel, echoing off the walls, carrying with it a deep sense of unity. The harmony of their faith intertwined, embracing the divine like a shield against skepticism. Yet amidst the joy, a thought flickered in Mary's mind: would this moment be enough? Would the faith they had ignited today weather the storms of tomorrow? The joyous songs filled the air, but shadows of uncertainty still lurked, pressing against their spirits like a distant storm. Then, her heart sensed another call, a flicker of urgency. What if today's miracle was a seed planted for greater things to come? Mary pondered. As the echoes of worship swelled, she felt a nudge within her spirit, a profound yearning for deeper revelation. Will they recognize what God is asking of us next? Will they dare to step into the unknown and claim the miraculous that awaits? The questions lingered delicately, hanging in the air for all to consider. As the final notes of the hymn faded into silence, a sense of expectancy settled among them. This was not just a gathering, it was a launching pad into a greater journey. With hearts uplifted, they leaned into the mystery of God's promises. Together, they would seek answers and traverse uncharted waters on the wings of faith. What awaited them in this journey beyond the chapel doors? Mary felt a stirring within her, a whisper of adventure that beckoned them onward into the unfolding miraculous. What would it take for them to embrace the unfolding mystery of faith? As the echoes of their worship faded, a gentle hush enveloped the chapel, wrapping around Mary and Emma like a soft blanket. The congregation was still, hearts beating together as if awaiting a divine word. In that sacred stillness, Mary felt an irrefutable weight of expectancy. A flicker of hope kindled within her, a holy spark igniting a fresh desire to seek God's face. Let us gather in prayer, she suggested, her voice steady yet tender. Like a wave, people moved closer, hearts ready to intercede for one another and for the world outside. They formed a circle, hands clasped together in unity. The warmth of their connected spirits was palpable, and Mary could feel God's presence settling among them, filling the gaps where fear once resided. Emma squeezed her mother's hand, offering reassurance. We are so much stronger together, she said softly, her eyes shining. The prayers flowed freely, each voice like the sound of water cascading over rock, strong, cleansing, and unyielding. Someone prayed for healing, another for guidance, others for courage to face the uncertainties of tomorrow. With each prayer, the burden of doubt lifted, revealing possibilities that were once hidden beneath layers of fear. God, help us to recognize the signs you place before us, Mary prayed aloud. Let our eyes be open, our hearts courageous. Suddenly, a young man, James, broke into tears, overwhelmed by the moment. I feel God challenging me, asking me to step out in faith, he cried. But I'm terrified. How can I fulfill this calling? Mary's heart swelled with compassion. James, she spoke gently, sometimes the fear is a part of the journey. It's in trembling that we learn to trust Him more deeply. God doesn't call the equipped, He equips the called. A murmur of agreement rippled through the circle. They were truly in this together, each person grappling with challenges, but also searching for hope and clarity. The atmosphere thickened, an electric current of our shared vulnerability mixed with the divine. Then, Emma spoke again, her voice rising with a newfound strength. What if our struggles are clues leading us to miracles? What if each step into the unknown is a step closer to what God has prepared for us? Inspired, others chimed in, recounting times they had faced uncertainties which, in hindsight, revealed God's hand guiding them all along. Reliving those moments ignited a deeper understanding. Rather than see obstacles as dead ends, they could embrace them as doorways to divine revelations. The energy in the room shifted, an awakening of sorts. It was as if the darkness had been split apart, and God's light poured in like morning sun breaking over a horizon. A still, small voice pricked Mary's spirit, the question that had been lingering. Are we truly ready for what comes next? Will we have the faith to move forward in trust as we step into the unknown? As the prayers culminated in an atmosphere thick with expectancy, the sense of what lay ahead became a part of them. The chapel, once a place of gathered lament, now radiated the joy of possibility. With hearts filled with hope, they began to split back into their groups, the spirit of unity still imbued among them. Mary caught Emma's eye, and they shared a silent moment of understanding. Let us not delay our journey. We must prepare for the adventure that awaits outside these walls, Mary whispered. As they stepped outside into the crisp air, a spark of awe ignited across the horizon. What began as a sanctuary for their souls was now an altar for action. The world beyond awaited their faith-filled footsteps, but suddenly, Mary paused, a shiver dancing down her spine. She sensed a deep yearning within her. Could the challenges that lay ahead become their greatest testimony? What if stepping outside meant embracing a divine mystery waiting just beyond their grasp? The air outside was fresh, the sky painted with hues of gold and soft lavender. Mary inhaled deeply, allowing the coolness to fill her lungs and clear her mind. As the sun dipped lower, it cast long shadows, reminding her that their pilgrimage was just beginning. Where do we go from here? Emma asked, her voice laced with a mixture of excitement and anxiety. Mary turned to face the vibrant landscape stretching before them. We take one step at a time. Each moment will guide us if we stay rooted in faith. They began to walk, the congregation filtering out behind them, still buzzing with the aftertaste of their shared prayers. Mary found comfort in the closeness of the community, each step echoing the unity they had forged. It was evident they were not just a group, but a family embroiled in the same journey. As they meandered down the path, Mary's thoughts flashed back to James. His struggles mirrored those of many, fear casting shadows over their dreams, uncertainties lingering like fog. But amidst that fog, she had glimpsed a flicker of faith ignited. Emma, she said, her voice barely above a whisper, what do you think it actually means to step out in faith? Emma walked beside her, considering this. I think it means trusting God even when there are no solid grounds beneath our feet, like stepping off a cliff and believing the wings of His grace will catch us. That's beautiful, Mary smiled, her heart warmed by her daughter's wisdom. It's that very leap of faith that creates miracles. Just then, they arrived at the old small park adjacent to the chapel, a place where they would often congregate for fellowship. The familiar sight of the large oak tree with its outstretched branches beckoned them closer. Do you remember the last time we sat under this tree? Emma's eyes sparkled with memories. It was one of those afternoons filled with laughter and stories. It felt safe there. Mary nodded, and they both sank to the grass beneath the tree's sheltering embrace. It was a holy space, a reminder that grounding can come from nature and connection. Do you think God speaks to us in our safe spaces? Emma pondered. Absolutely, Mary replied, resting her head back against the sturdy bark of the oak. In our laughter and vulnerability, in our trust, He whispers His truths. It's where we hear Him best. A soft breeze rustled the leaves above them, and Emma closed her eyes, soaking in the moment. But what about the challenges? What if the journey is laced with burdens and fears that threaten our faith? But what if those burdens are what lead us closer to Him? Mary countered gently. Trials can carve out deep wells of faith. They can deepen our roots if we allow them to. A sacred silence enveloped them, filled only with the gentle rustling of leaves. Mary closed her eyes, letting the warmth of the sun pour over her in contrast to the coolness of the earth beneath her. There was something stirring in her spirit, a realization that the miracle of hope was not just about seeing light but also enduring through darkness. "Mom, we have so much to share, so many stories and testimonies that can encourage others," Emma said, her voice breaking into Mary's contemplative silence. "Yes, we do. And that's just it. Sharing our experiences can light the way for those still searching." As dusk approached, they felt the evening's invitation, as if God beckoned them to open their eyes to wonders unfolding just beyond their reach. "Shall we tell our stories?" Emma suggested, the excitement bubbling within her. "Yes. But how will we do it?" "We start where we are," Emma smiled, her eyes sparkling even in the dimming light. "Perhaps it's opening our hearts to those waiting on us, those yearning for His love. Should we spread the word?" Mary felt a surge of energy, a conviction that this was the moment to answer the call. Let us step out and give those stories life. But let us also prepare for what else God wants to show us as we embrace the unknown. Together they stood, a new clarity in their eyes, ready to embark on this next chapter of faith. As they looked up into the infinite sky, the enormity of the journey before them unfolded, and amidst the wonder and anticipation, Mary questioned within her heart what divine appointments awaited them. What lessons lay ahead that would deepen their walk and strengthen their testimony of faith. With renewed determination, Mary and Emma stepped away from the oak tree, leaving behind the sacred tranquility it provided. The congregation gathered nearby, voices mingling in laughter and shared anticipation. Each face carried stories, each heart bore burdens. As they drifted closer to the group, a sense of collective purpose filled the air, tangibly thick with hope and commitment. "Let us gather everyone together," Emma suggested, her voice rising over the crowd. "We can share our idea, the stories we want to tell." Mary nodded, feeling a mix of pride and excitement. Emma had a light about her, a natural way of drawing people in. She took a deep breath to steady herself, knowing that the moment of vulnerability was approaching. As the congregation circled around them, Mary addressed the gathering. "Dear friends, we've been given such a gift in our stories, our trials and triumphs, our laughter, and our tears. Emma and I feel called to share these experiences, to remind each other of God's faithfulness through every season of our lives." A murmur of agreement rippled through the crowd. Faces brightened with curiosity and enthusiasm, eyes glistening at the thought of shared experiences. It amazed Mary how, even in the uncertain shadows of the world, the light within them flickered brighter together. "What if we each take turns sharing our journeys?" Emma suggested. "We can inspire one another and bring hope to those who might feel lost." A soft, collective amen followed her words. Mary could feel the stirring in her heart, a sweet prompting from above. It was a moment of unity and surrender. They were all interconnected, each of their stories a thread in the larger tapestry of faith. One by one, they began to share. An older gentleman spoke of losing his wife and how the darkness had nearly consumed him until he received an unexpected letter filled with encouragement from a friend. A young mother recounted the struggles of raising her children alone, the profound sense of isolation lifting when she found strength within the church community. With every voice lifted, the group drew closer, a web of shared experiences weaving around them. Mary's own heart warmed with each testimony. They were moving through the challenges together, and each story brought a deeper understanding of God's hand at work. She felt the weight of her fears slowly lift. In sharing, they were granting permission to trust and believe again. "I've always thought faith was about the big moments," Mary finally said, her voice steady yet tender, "but you've reminded me that it's woven into every ordinary second of our lives. It's in the smallest graces, a kind word, a moment of laughter, even in our struggles. That's where God shines the brightest, isn't it?" As the sun dipped below the horizon, the glow transformed into twilight, wrapping them in warmth. Laughter danced in the air, mingling with sincere reflections and heartfelt prayers. Mary felt exhilarated, a bubbling excitement within her spirit. By shining their light, they were creating opportunities for miracles to take root among them, nurturing faith. The evening ended with prayer, hands clasped and hearts entwined. Each prayed for strength, guidance, and love, filling the atmosphere with divine presence. As they stood together, Mary pondered the essence of what they had begun. There was still something profound lingering in the air, a question she couldn't shake. What awaited them beyond this moment? Could there be a divine test waiting just on the horizon, ready to take them deeper into their faith, deeper into the mysteries of trust? With their hands still clasped, Mary closed her eyes, an eagerness brewing within her soul. What would tomorrow bring? And how would they respond to God's call as they walked onward into the unfolding unknown? As dawn broke with gentle hues of pink and gold, Mary rose from her bed, her heart still filled with the warmth of last night's gathering. She felt a sense of expectancy, as if the new day held whispers of divine secrets waiting to be revealed. The air was crisp, carrying with it the sweet scent of dew-kissed grass, a refreshing reminder of God's mercies that are new every morning. Today, she resolved, they would take another step deeper. The bond they had started to weave with their stories felt like a living thread, vibrant and strong, ready to create something rich and beautiful. She dressed quickly, her movements almost dance-like as she imagined the possibilities of their next meeting. Emma was already at the church when Mary arrived. The sanctuary stood illuminated by the soft morning light filtering through stained glass windows, casting colorful patterns on the wooden pews. Emma's face lit up when she saw Mary, reflecting the very joy they both hoped to share. "Good morning, Mary. Did you sleep well?" Emma asked, her eyes sparkling with a childlike wonder. "Very well, thank you. I can't shake the feeling that something beautiful is about to unfold," Mary replied, folding her hands in eager anticipation. They decided to prepare a space for their gathering. Setting up chairs in a circle felt like arranging a haven where hearts could open. They placed candles on the table in the center, a reminder of the light they sought to share. As they worked, they chatted about potential themes for the day. What if we encouraged everyone to share about times when they felt lost, but found a glimmer of hope? Emma suggested, her voice tinged with excitement. Mary nodded. What a beautiful idea. It's those moments that often reveal how much we need each other and how God meets us where we are. Soon, the congregation began to trickle in, each face familiar and warm. They greeted each other with hugs, smiles, and the gentle nervousness of approaching vulnerable sharing. The atmosphere crackled with possibility, an almost palpable energy of hope rising. As they settled into their circle, Mary felt the weight of anticipation settle over them. No one spoke just yet. Instead, they welcomed the stillness, the sacred quiet that enveloped them, a moment where every breath was a prayer. Finally, a soft voice broke the silence. It was a young man who had rarely shared before, a hint of vulnerability trembling in his words. "I used to think I could handle everything alone," he began, "but life hit hard, and I fell apart. It was only through reaching out to you all that I found my footing again." Heads nodded in understanding, eyes glistening with empathy. A wave of comfort washed over the group, each confession resonating like a heartbeat in unison. Stories flowed, revealing battles with depression, loss, and uncertainty, yet each tale brought forth glimmers of hope, moments of community, instances of faith that became lifelines against despair. Mary's heart swelled as she listened to them. In sharing their struggles, they were painting a canvas of resilience, each brushstroke echoing God's faithfulness in the hardest times. It felt overwhelmingly beautiful, like a song that stirred deep within her soul, reminding her of the ties that bind them all in love. Suddenly, an unexpected stillness fell over the group. They could all feel it, the presence of something significant, a power that transcended their individual stories. Mary glanced at Emma, whose eyes were wide with awe. They both sensed a question hanging in the air, one not easily voiced. "What if," Mary ventured, "what if we asked God to show us how these experiences could lead us into something bigger? What if there's a purpose in our willingness to share?" The murmurs of agreement rose, a powerful chorus echoing through the sanctuary, hearts igniting with new eagerness. Mary held her breath, hoping they would see the heartbeat of their church, the pulse of love coursing through them. What wondrous revelations awaited them! They were ready to uncover divine miracles. As she looked around, she felt the electricity of a challenge welling up within her. Would they rise together and embrace whatever God had in store? With a trembling heart, she left the question hanging there between them, each gaze alight with curiosity. What was God preparing them for? And how would they respond to his gentle invitation toward a deeper faith? The silence lingered for a moment, thick with anticipation. Each heart in the circle beat as one, each breath carried the weight of unspoken thoughts. Mary felt the energy of prayer weaving through them, a soft but powerful current drawing their spirits closer together. As if summoned by the unity, an older woman, Margaret, who had remained quiet, finally broke her silence. Her voice came softly, but with a deep measure of wisdom. "I've been holding on to a fear," she confessed, her hands clasping tightly in her lap. "It's been weighing heavier as the years go by. I often think I've lost my purpose, and every day feels like a struggle." Immediately, the atmosphere shifted, the room enveloped her in an embrace of empathy. Mary felt an overwhelming compassion swell within her. "Margaret, it's okay to feel lost sometimes," Mary said gently, meeting her eyes. "You're not alone in this. God sees your heart, he knows your longing." Tears glistened in Margaret's eyes, reflecting the candle's gentle glow. Encouraged, she continued, "I remember joy in my life, moments where I felt his presence so strongly. But the darkness has been so consuming lately." One by one, others joined in, revealing their own struggles and fears. Each story shared was an opening, a door to the light that lay beyond the shadows of doubt and worry. A young woman named Sarah spoke up, her voice shaking slightly. "There have been days when I lost hope for the future." She took a deep breath, as if summoning courage. "But then I'd hear a song or see a glimpse of beauty, and suddenly I'd feel drawn back." Is that God reaching out? There it was, the intersection of faith and doubt, strong yet tender. Mary leaned forward, the spark of revelation igniting her spirit. "Yes, Sarah. Those moments are invitations. God beckons us, reminding us of his presence even when the path seems obscured." A wave of energy swept through the group, accompanied by nods of shared recognition. The conversations unfolded organically now, stories embracing each other, threads weaving into a tapestry of collective faith. "Maybe," Emma suggested, her voice barely a whisper of wonder, "what if we took all these fears and offered them to God? Like a sacrifice? We could ask him to transform our pain into purpose." A hush fell again, but this time it felt charged, electrifying. The idea hung in the air, powerful and palpable. Mary felt an overwhelming desire to respect this holy moment. Could they truly surrender their pain, trusting God to lead them into purpose? She glanced around, and she saw it, hope igniting in their eyes, courage blossoming where there had once been insecurity. "Let us pray together," Mary said, her voice steady now. "Let us hold each other's burdens before God and ask him for clarity and strength." As they bowed their heads, the sound of quiet weeping mixed with words of prayer. Each heart was laid bare before the Creator. Mary felt the prayers rise up, intertwining, a fragrant offering of vulnerability and trust that in her heart, a deep stirring began to grow. Something beyond their sharing was emerging, a collective offering that could lead to transformation. Suddenly, with a warm encompassing peace, she felt that God's plan was not just to heal their individual wounds but to weave them into a greater tapestry, a story that could touch lives beyond their own. When the prayer ended, a heavy silence cloaked the group, not from sorrow but from solemnity, anticipation, and reverence. "Are we ready to embrace whatever God has for us?" Mary asked, her voice quaking with zeal. The response was a unified murmur of agreement, but it was Emma's voice that rang clearer. "What will the next chapter of our journey be? What miracles await?" Mary's heart raced. The question echoed through her like a bell tolling, igniting not only her spirit but also the collective curiosity in the room. What lay ahead could be beyond their wildest imaginations. Maybe, she mused aloud, God is ready to make a miracle out of our togetherness. And as a soft light enveloped them, they quietly pondered, what divine adventure would unfold in their lives? In the days that followed, a remarkable transformation unfolded. Mary watched as the village buzzed with newfound energy. Lightness danced in the air, a divine presence engulfing everyone who entered the old chapel. Stories flowed freely, a tapestry of testimonies weaved with threads of trials and triumphs. The once hesitant congregants now stood bold and vibrant, eager to share their experiences of faith. Mary and Emma organized weekly gatherings, inviting everyone to bring their stories to the altar. Each testimony became a stepping stone, momentary pauses along the journey where God's hand was evident. Laughter intermingled with tears, as they celebrated the healing that echoed through their community. One evening, as they gathered beneath the chapel's stained glass windows, the air felt electric. Mary sensed a powerful anticipation surging among them. It's time for us to see where this divine momentum takes us, she announced, her eyes sparkling with hope. Emma chimed in, let us step into our stories, not just share them. Let us take what we've learned and carry it beyond these walls. The congregation erupted in excited murmurs. Here was a calling, a divine invitation to embody the miracles they had experienced. Thus began their journey of outreach. They organized community events, the first being a gathering centered on sharing meals, laughter, and testimonies. Word spread like wildfire, and soon neighbors from surrounding villages joined in, drawn by the magnetic pull of love and authenticity. The chapel overflowed with eager hearts, all seeking hope. As the gatherings grew, so did their confidence in God's plan. They transformed doubts into dreams, engaging in acts of kindness throughout the village. They shined bright lights in corners of despair, visiting nursing homes, and serving meals to those in need. With each act of love, the shared weight of burdens lightened. One day, the traveling preacher returned, his heart stirred by what he had heard. He stood before the congregation, his voice booming with enthusiasm. Your faith has become a beacon. You are living testimonies of the miraculous. God has called you to reach even further. Mary felt butterflies flit in her stomach. This was the confirmation of what she had sensed all along. Inspired by his words, they decided to take a leap of faith and organize a community festival dedicated to sharing stories of hope through art, music, and an inspiring service. Volunteers flocked to help, each person contributing a piece of their heart. The village transformed as preparations unfolded. On the day of the festival, the sun shone brightly, bathing the village in warmth. Colorful banners flapped joyfully in the breeze, laughter filled the streets, and a sense of unity washed over everyone. Mary and Emma stood at the entrance, arms linked, eyes gleaming with gratitude. Hearts pulsated together in a rhythm of expectation. When it became time to share stories, voices raised in harmony began to recount their journey from uncertainty to unwavering faith. Each narrative was laced with hope, healing, and divine encounters. The atmosphere crackled with a holy fire as one young boy shared how the community had brought him back from a valley of loneliness. The transformation was tangible, and Mary felt tears brim in her eyes. She glanced at Emma, whose radiant smile echoed the joy swelling in her heart. This is just the beginning, Mary whispered, her spirit buoyed by the collective journey that had emerged from their struggles. As the night descended, the crowd joined in uplifting songs, voices echoing brilliant harmonies that seemed to pierce through the darkness of doubt. They danced in the streets, celebrating breakthroughs with laughter and joy. Each step tapped to the rhythm of hope, ignited sparks that glimmered under the starry sky. Amidst the festivities, a man stepped forward, his face familiar but weary. It was James, the one who had once wept in vulnerability. His voice suddenly rang clear, pierced through the laughter. Together, we've painted a picture, a living canvas of God's love in action, he declared, as tears streamed down his cheeks. This is what faith looks like, imperfect yet beautiful. We are a testimony of what can bloom through love and unity. The community erupted in applause, hearts glowing in the warmth of this revelation. In that moment, Mary understood profoundly the miracle wasn't merely in Emma's healing but in the way their shared stories had catalyzed a wave of divine love throughout the village. They were witnesses that God's glory shines brightest when we lean into Him and each other. At the close of the festival, as the last notes of music faded, Mary stood at the center of the circle, a sense of serene resolution enveloping her spirit. She believed wholly now. No darkness could extinguish the light birthed by faith. Let us continue, she encouraged the crowd, to carry this flame of hope beyond these walls. And when life brings challenges, remember this moment: our journey together has revealed divine power through our brokenness. Joyous murmurs rippled through the crowd as they nodded in unison, their hearts intertwined in a sacred promise. As night deepened and the stars twinkled overhead, Mary could see Emma, her shining light in the crowd, glowing with excitement and joy. With each moment of bravery that lay ahead, they would continue to share their faith and love. They had traversed valleys of doubt, and now they walked as family, ready to illuminate the world with their God-given strength. Mary's heart brimmed with gratitude. They had unlocked divine miracles, and the journey was still unfolding. Each step forward would be an embrace of faith as they ventured boldly into the awe-inspiring unknown, and so, dear friends, let us embrace the spirit of this journey together. Do not hesitate, unlock the miracles within you today. Subscribe immediately to witness more incredible faith stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help the truth spread. Comment your reactions and testimonies about this ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who are hungry for a divine manifestation. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait even one more second. True servants of God know how crucial it is to rally around stories that uplift His name. Join us in living this faith together.